Yeah, I guess I'll start out just with the O-line, Coach M, and his guys, and then Coach Waz, tight ends, and even the receivers out there, doing a great job blocking downfield, through Coach Hawk. It's been really a collaborative effort for us as an offensive staff, and obviously Coach Lingering to get the run game going. Something that was lacking. I think about my group, just more emphasis on not being decisive. I think when we talked early on, it might have been fall camp and things like that. We talked about pressing our aiming points and not kind of being hesitant in the hole. And I think the guys are really starting to believe in that, based on the O-line, the tight ends, the receivers, and then us doing a great job up front of trusting where those spaces will be. And then what I use in the verbiage that I like to use is puncturing the hole. And I think that's really been the big difference as a group.
What about we've seen the young guys, your two freshmen, get mixed in there late in the season. Just seems like a little unusual if a guy didn't get the carries early, and not that they weren't playing, obviously contributing in special teams, but I guess what have they done to earn carries in key moments?
Yeah, just consistency. I think young players, it's always a road that they're trying to get down, and I think both of those guys, Brandon Tullis and Mekhi Frazier, have done a great job of really stepping up their urgency during the course of practice and being consistent in all phases. I think about their consistency in individual. I think about their consistency in pass pro and also in the run game, just like we have. And those things you want to try to reward guys and not necessarily give them a bone, but they've earned a chance to get out there on the field and help contribute to the team.
Another one of the better rush defenses coming up this weekend with Indiana. Would you say, obviously you would like the run game, to have been where it is all season, but would you say it's coming along at just the right time?
No, I think it's, the season, as you think about it, you always want your team to be getting better towards the end. I think, from a team standpoint, we're trying to do that. I think from a run game standpoint as an offense, that's happening. So I'm excited for the challenge. Just like you said, Indiana's a great run defense. The tape speaks for itself and some of the stuff they've been able to do with the teams that we're playing. So we're excited for the challenge. But at the end of the day, we have to stick with our fundamentals and our keys of making sure we continue to build on where we left from this past week.
Saturday might have been Nate's best game since he's been here. I'm just wondering what you liked about it, and do you sort of challenge him to say, hey, this is a jumping off point to roll that through the end of the season, that type of stuff?
Yeah, funny thing, funny you asked me that. I talked to him, I guess it would have been Sunday, and I said, I don't know what you ate and what you did going into the game, but let's just do the same exact thing and maybe get the same amount of sleep as well going into the game also, because yeah, I agree. I think overall, that kid just had a hot hand. He was feeling it. He was finishing physical. He was puncturing the hole, catching the ball out the backfield. And it's exciting when you get a guy like him who is a team captain, who is a leader on this team, to have that sort of success and be able to continue to ride with him throughout the course of the game.
When you talk about decisiveness, how do you coach that, I guess? How do you get guys to just make a decision and stick with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the thing that I like to do is it goes back to showing them on film, and I say that like, oh, you haven't been showing them on film, but I think what you were seeing a lot more of, they were being decisive, but we were going too far past our aiming points at times. And it's like once you get to that point, being decisive, to put your foot in the ground and get vertical. And then I think there was times where I was able to show them as we were kind of going through the course of the season, building on, you don't wait for the leverage. You kind of set the leverage with how you get vertical and how you lean off the leverage. And we talk about transitions and working their transitions well off of leverage.
With the backfield penetration that defenses had early in the year, how was it in terms of maybe managing their frustration level? Because, there were a number of times when both he and K-Ron were getting hit on the handoff.
Yeah. I don't focus on that. We like as a staff, we talk about it, but I don't want those kids to be focused on it. I think the big thing that they have to do is when we get our opportunities, we need to take advantage of them. And there were times out there, if we go back and me and you sat and watched film, that we weren't taking advantage of the opportunities where we could have helped the O-line, or we could have gotten our foot in the ground a little bit cleaner. And that's the things where I think we've got off of worrying about if there's a guy in the backfield, and more importantly, being ready to get our foot in the ground and get vertical. We had one on Saturday, I think it was a backside in or backer, was right in the backfield. Nate spun off of him and was able to go. That's running back. You know what I'm saying? Being able to react. The wide, clean, open holes, yeah, we all love those. But the reality is we got to be able to make fast-paced decisions and get vertical as soon as we can.
What how much pride does your group take, when you carry the offense really for the last 2 weeks? And not to say you're separating the room, but anything, but like, as far as picking that up down the stretch and keeping that going for the last third of the season?
Yeah, I don't, we haven't even talked about it like that. I think the big thing, is just we want to be able to contribute. And part of our contribution the past couple of weeks has been the run game. Obviously, Nate had some big catches out the backfield. There's going to be games, and there has been games where those guys, I think about the Maryland game, we did a great job in protection and some of the other games like that. So, I mean, we want to be a unit. The things that we talk about are pass pro, ball security, and yards after contact. That's what we want to be about. So that's all inclusive to just trying to help the offense get better and help the team win.
Time of possession is obviously a byproduct of running the ball well, controlling that time of possession. I mean, how important though is that going to be, especially against this offense that you're facing? I mean, that in some ways you're contributing to the defense.
Yeah.
By running.
I think it's always important. I mean, if you have the ball, it's hard for them to score if they don't have it. So obviously for us, we just got to focus on continuing to build as an offense. All running the ball, throwing the ball, catching the ball, blocking, scoring in the red zone. All of those are going to be key contributors to us having success on Saturday.
And as far as the zone blocking, I mean, how much is that a scheme where it takes time, for it, especially when you're installing it for the first time at a new program, for it to kind of settle in, because there is a little bit more nuance with it.
I don't know if it's necessarily. There's always going to be adjustment no matter what new program, whatever the scheme is. And like I said, I'll go back to where the other question I answered. I just think there were times we weren't necessarily in sync overall what we were trying to get done scheme-wise and what it needed to look like as far as getting downhill. I think I'll go back to this thing where we want to be better towards the end of the season, and I think we're right there.
Where's the balance between being a ball control offense and an explosive offense?
I don't know if that's a great question. I don't have a good answer for you. I just think you want to be an offense that's efficient, that is, explosive, but at the same time, one that understands, how important it is to drive the ball down the field, but at the same time, protect the football with the efficient plays that you can run.
Special teams-wise, been a couple of active weeks for you guys. You got Kim kicking all those field goals a couple weeks ago, and the long snapper situation this past week. Just what do you think about how that unit is adjusting some things, accomplishing some things? What's the last couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it in this program. Coach Smith does a great job with his leadership. Next man up, and that's really how it goes. A couple of weeks we've leaned on Kim. Obviously, being able to having some changes at the long snapper position. You just expect the next guy to go in there and do a good job, and we try to breed confidence throughout the program, in the weight room, in our meeting rooms, and also on the field. So excited, for a new journey from a special team standpoint, and excited for these guys to go execute just like you guys are.
From a personal standpoint, getting Alante back as quickly as he did, I guess what did it mean for you to see him out there and his role maybe moving forward with the return?
No, Alante's a good player. Obviously, anytime you can get a player like him that's dynamic, from a special team standpoint, is awesome. Because it's a long football season, and it's almost like you got a free token back towards the end of the season, like we're talking about. And excited to get him going. And he's very competitive. He's physical. He understands how important he is to this program. So it's going to be good to get him back out there.
I think it was one of the punt returns. We saw two guys back.
Yeah.
You guys setting something up with that, or?
Just trying to make sure we can catch the ball. That's really all we're trying to get done.
With the onside kick, I'm curious. Obviously, it didn't work out, but it's a little bit unconventional in that third quarter to go for it. And I'm curious, when you guys are thinking through those decisions, and even with like having two guys back in a punt, I guess where does the line draw between like convention and creativity in some of those decisions?
No, I just obviously you're not going to delve into scheme too much, but I think in all three phases, anytime you see things where you can get an opportunity to make a play for your team or make a play for the program, you're going to do that, and that's really where that comes from.
When you watch back, what went wrong on that?
I think we're offsides. You can't be offsides.
That's obviously one part of it.
That's
the second part of it.
that offsides. You know what I mean? I hate to, it's one of those things where you can say what if, but the ball didn't bounce our way. We were offsides. They recovered it. That's where you got it.
With the fair catch deal, was that just Sam called it and Alante was on a different page, or what?
No, that's a great question. That's totally on me. I think, the one thing we pride ourselves on is making sure we go over situational stuff, and that was a situation I didn't cover thoroughly with those guys. When it comes to the rule, whoever fair catches it, if you're the one catching it, okay, you're fine, that ball moves up. But if it goes to you fair catch it and the other guy catches it, you get the ball where you catch it at. So that was the rule. That's on me, totally.
So Sam thought that he could make that signal for himself and may not catch it?
Not to get too much into it, but Sam was yelling to him to fair catch it, and in the midst of telling him fair catch it, he was signaling it. Yeah.
With, I guess when you've seen Sam and Jackson, what have they done? Why the division between the punting and field goal snapping?
I just think both of those guys, at this point, they're not. There's not a difference. I think it's more of the fact that both of those guys have gotten reps, and we just feel comfortable with where we're at with that.
You give them reps either way.
Yeah,
both.
exactly.
What's been the mentality, I guess, of the team kind of coming out of what was probably an emotional loss? I mean, in that sense, and how have you guys kind of just, I guess, reset? I mean, maybe this week.
We have a big-time challenge coming into this stadium on Saturday at 3:30. You're out there at practice. You watch these guys flying around. You watch how they're interacting in the meetings and on the practice field. These guys are excited to play, and that's been the reaction. These guys are ready to play for another challenge. Our biggest thing is we want to continue to play ball on to the next page, and now it's time to get ready for Indiana, a great football team coming here to Spartan Stadium.
I mean, were you happy, I guess, with that reaction? Considering, I mean, again, it's a brand new coaching staff, right? 61 new players. I mean, to kind of be able to, reset in that way. I mean, because was a test of adversity right there.
Yeah, no doubt. I think football is adversity, and I think the guys that handle adversity the best are the ones that are going to perform the best down the stretch. And that's exactly what we want to do. We're excited that these guys were able to kind of turn the page and get ready for this next challenge.
To sort of compare opponents, I mean, it seems like Michigan's front seven is very talented and high-end All-American guys. With Indiana, it feels like they have so much depth they can just come in waves. And I'm curious how that affects you guys from a preparation standpoint.
Yeah, I think just watching these guys on film, they're a very active team, talking Indiana, very active, very productive. I think they do a lot from a scheme standpoint to keep you on your heels. I think at the end of the day, it comes back down to us executing. Whether they keep the same 4 guys in or send away, there's still 4 guys, 3 guys on the front that we have to block. Receivers have to make plays on their DBs. It's football at the end of the day. But to say, is there something different because they bring 4 new guys in? Maybe we'll have to see that when we play on Saturday. But we're just excited to continue to execute and continue to get better.
Wondering about your personal experience on Saturday and how that maybe stacked up in the rivalry compared to some of the others you've been involved in as a coach or player.
No, I think it's awesome. I think, the story programs as far as the history of Michigan State and the school down the road, it's like the big thing that we are all about is helping these guys understand from week to week. It's about competition. It's about going out there and playing hard. Now you think about the emotion of the game and the crowd was into it. I mean, that's college football, and that's the cool thing that I love about it.
How much as coaches do you learn from your first experience and something like that when you haven't been around? Like for a guy like Courtney or me, they were involved in it, so they kind of get it. But when you're a coach, how do you kind of synthesize all the information and emotions?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, when you talk about being emotional, you want to be a consistent, that consistent peak performance guy for your players. I think for us, it was more about getting these guys to understand the execution is at a premium and not letting your emotions take over. So that's kind of that would be my voice to it and what I learned from it. I thought our guys did a great job, but, as you know, we're on to the next. It's time to get ready for Indiana.
Keith, wanted to ask you real quick just about Ashton Genty, having coached him. Have you paid attention to his season?
Well, you guys, it's all over the news, I guess.
What's it been like to see that guy, and does that say anything, I guess, about loyalty and what you can do at programs with different sort of profiles, I guess?
Everybody has their own story. So when you speak about the loyalty piece, I'm not, everybody has their own story and their own journey when you're talking college football, especially in 2024. I'm excited for him, excited for, the Boise State and Coach Danielson and that staff and what they've been able to do as a team and as a program, and excited for him to continue to do what he does throughout the rest of the season. It was fun. He's a great kid, and excited for him.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.